Here we're going to be talking about the reference points that we use in order to align your new projectors inside of the halogen reflector housing. This actually goes for the projector housings as well, but here we have a newer Civic, and we're getting ready to install projectors in here. And a lot of people just ask us, how exactly are we coming up with the mounting methods? The reference points on where to put the projectors. And one of the things that people do, they take down the reflector, they aim it at the wall, and they're going to come up with a reference point. But that reference point, the halogen is not extremely defined, and if you don't go off the right point, you're going to have an issue with the projector being sloped. So right now we have the halogen 9006 bulb in the low beam, but we're going to do a few other things, and I'm going to show you what you need to do in order to get everything set up properly. So you need a nice level table, and we know it's level. This is our testing table. You can see it's right in the middle there, and that shows that the table is nice and smooth and on a level surface. Here we have it's a square. It's called a square. It's a 90-degree angle, and this helps us also with the process, and you'll see how that's used. So when this is sitting flat on this level table, we know this is perfectly aligned, and we're going to be using this as a tool to help us during this process. So we're going to flip over to the back side of the reflector. These are all adjustment points. We have a left and right adjuster, and we have the up and down adjuster right here. So this is the one that moves. This is a fixed point, and this is going to be your left and right adjuster that moves within the back side of the headlight. So at this point, we're really just looking for anything that's straight, level, and we're going to use that as a point. The first thing that I see right over here is this nice level plane, and also you can probably use the bottom of those two little points there. So I'm going to fire it up now so you guys can see what we're referring to. And essentially I'm holding the square like this. It's sitting nice and level on the table, and I can just use this flat part right over here, and it's going to seat this reflector frame at a perfect point. And you can see the halogen actually gives us, it's not super defined, but you can see how it moves up and down. And I can go sway it up and down. As long as this is touching the side of the square, we know it's going to be situated perfectly. Another thing we can use is these two little points there. So you can see once they're resting on that, they're technically resting on the table, and the table is flat. So we know we have a good alignment, and we're back to the same area on the wall. So this is our reference point that we're going to use for this Honda Civic for our rotational alignment. We also do something else where we get the height alignment, and we're going to be looking for anything that we can place this down, this whole reflector frame down on the table. I'm still going to be looking for one. So we're going to turn the square the other way, and I want to find something where I can sit it down evenly. So if I sit this down and it feels flat, my reference point for this particular reflector frame will be about 1.5, 1.75 above the electrical line. That's just our own reference point. So when we situate the projector, we want the height to be at that point, and that's going to give us that's going to kind of zero off the position of the projector, because even though we have a height adjuster inside the headlight, if you want maximum range and you want it to be situated perfectly in line with the halogen reflector, you're going to want that projector situated at that perfect point. If it's off a little bit, it's fine, but otherwise you're going to have an inverted beam pattern. You could put the retrofit back on the car. A lot of do-it-yourselfers kind of skip that step, and the low beams might be pointed fine, but then they turn on the high beams. They're either pointed at the ground in front of the car, or they're up in the trees. So this ensures that it's seated properly and you have maximum adjustment, and you're not going to run into any issues where you're at the extreme ends of the adjuster. And finally, you have the left and right adjustment. A lot of headlights do not have the adjustment, and some do. In this case of the Honda Civic, I don't believe that either of these points move left and right. But this would be the left and right adjuster if there was one. And what this implies is that we really have to nail down the adjustment of the projector during the conversion. You want it perfectly situated. If it's pointing out or in, you're going to have an issue. And the only way to really test that is going off of the halogen high beam, if you have the car on site, you're going to want to put it back into the car because if it's too far inward, your beams are going to cross. If the projector is pointing too far outward, you're going to have another issue where you might be blinding people. The lights are going to be hard to adjust that way, and you're not going to get maximum, the proper results and maximum coverage of the conversion. So if you want your value in the projector conversion, you're going to want to go through all those 3 steps. 3 reference points. You got your up and down, left and right, and then you got your rotational alignment. But that's all for today, and we're going to keep you updated on this project as we move along on this Honda Civic conversion. And if you have any questions, please comment here or on Facebook or email us at info@lightwerkz.net. Thank you very much.